Lyra Kane stepped off the landing craft onto the dusty plains of Zareth 9, her boots sinking slightly into the red, iron-rich soil. The wind was sharp, carrying a faint metallic tang that reminded her of old earth mines. She adjusted the strap of her pack, where her axe rested in a worn leather sheath. It was not a weapon anyone would consider impressive, just an earth-made battle axe, polished and heavy, with a faint history etched into its handle. But to her, it was more than a tool of war. It was a reminder of home, of generations who had faced impossible odds and survived. The alien outpost ahead loomed like a fortress from the distant wars she had read about in old history data. Towering walls of blackened metal were punctuated with small observation windows. She had heard stories of this place. The aliens who commanded it were brutal, their soldiers disciplined, and their combat technology unmatched. Humanity was considered primitive here, a weak species clinging to a dying planet. Many of the alien inhabitants would mock her before the first swing of her axe. The first group of sentries noticed her almost immediately. They were tall, six-limbed creatures, their sleek exoskeletons glinting under the twin suns. Their heads tilted in unison as they assessed her, the hissed clicks of their language a warning. Lyra remained calm, her gaze steady. She could feel their eyes weighing her down, trying to unnerve her, but she had faced worse odds. The axe on her back was heavy, yes, but it felt alive, ready. "You are the human," one of them finally spoke in a tone that carried both amusement and contempt. The words were broken but understandable. Lyra nodded. "I am," she said simply, keeping her voice firm. "I've come to fight." One of them, taller than the rest, with faintly glowing markings across his armor, stepped forward. "You carry that," he gestured vaguely toward her axe. "You think this stick will matter here. It's my strength, my skill, and my will." While they relied on their heavy shields, precise strikes, and alien strength, she had something else: intuition, ingenuity, and the stubborn refusal to give up. The arena commander, a figure even larger and more imposing than the soldiers, approached. His armor shimmered with a faint energy field that made him seem almost untouchable. He spoke in a formal, commanding voice. "You will enter the trial. If you survive, perhaps you will earn the right to fight among the skilled. If not, humanity will remain as it has always been, weak and amusing." It was larger than she had imagined, a circular field with a raised platform at the center. Energy shields lined the edges, humming softly, and observation decks hung above like silent witnesses to the coming battle. The first wave of alien soldiers approached. Lyra's heart raced, but not with fear, excitement. Her training kicked in. She noticed immediately how they moved, the slight delay when their shields activated, the rhythm of their swings. Most humans would see only strength and size, but Lyra saw patterns. Every swing had a timing flaw, every shield a weak point if struck correctly. The aliens attacked in unison, their weapons crackling with energy. Lyra swung her axe, feeling the weight and momentum. She blocked one strike, narrowly avoiding a blow that could have crushed her. The metal of her axe rang with the contact, a deep, resonant sound that seemed almost alive. The aliens mocked her as she countered, their clicks and hisses rising to a crescendo. But Lyra remained focused. One misstep could mean defeat, yes, but she trusted her instincts. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. Lyra moved with a rhythm of her own, dodging, striking, and studying. She discovered something vital. The shields, though powerful, were not perfect. They had blind spots, moments of vulnerability during their energy pulse cycles. The realization sparked a fire in her chest. If she could exploit that, she could turn the tide. The aliens were beginning to notice. One of the younger soldiers, more reckless than the others, launched a flurry of attacks, aiming to overwhelm her. Lyra ducked under a swing, rolled across the ground, and sprang to her feet. Her axe bit into the dirt as she tested its balance, preparing for the perfect throw. She had never thrown it in a real battle, but now she imagined the possibilities. "You think you are ready," the arena commander's voice boomed. "This is no longer training, this is survival." Humans had done it before, using strategy, ingenuity, and courage to overcome the impossible. She would do it again. The aliens advanced as a unit, their shields forming a continuous wall of energy. Lyra analyzed their formation, noting the slight delay when each shield aligned with the next. Timing was everything. If she could synchronize her strike with that delay, she might just break through. Her hands tightened around the axe handle. She felt the familiar hum of anticipation in her veins, the human edge that had carried her ancestors through countless battles. She dodged the first strike, letting the momentum guide her. The alien lunged with a second swing, heavier this time, and she rolled under it, narrowly escaping a glancing blow. Sparks flew as the axe scraped against metal. The crowd of alien observers leaned forward, a mixture of curiosity and disbelief crossing their features. Lyra whispered a quiet mantra to herself, a grounding thought: observe, calculate, act. The first two rules of survival in any fight, especially against those who underestimate you. She could feel the moment approaching, the instant when the shields would pulse and create the vulnerability she had been waiting for. A third strike came and she leaped, swinging the axe in a wide arc. It connected with the alien's shield, but not fully, just enough to test the resistance. The vibration traveled up the handle, confirming her suspicion. Timing, force, angle, everything aligned. She could do this. The aliens exchanged nervous clicks. Even in their confidence, they sensed something unusual. This human did not fight like the others. She was small, yes, but her mind moved faster than any muscle, faster than any programmed strategy. The arena commander narrowed his eyes. Hours passed in this tense dance of attack and defense. Lyra's body ached, her arms burning with exertion, but she did not falter. Every movement was precise, every dodge calculated. She could feel the energy in the arena, the tension of expectation, the weight of history on her shoulders. Finally, as the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the arena, Lyra stood in the center. The aliens hesitated. She had survived the first wave. She had proven herself not by strength alone, but by wit, observation, and courage. The commander's gaze lingered on her, a silent acknowledgement that the human might not be as weak as everyone believed. Lyra exhaled slowly, lowering the axe to her side. Her muscles screamed in protest, but her mind was sharper than ever. This was only the beginning. The frontier was vast, the challenges immense, but she had something the aliens did not fully understand: the human heart, undaunted and clever. As the sun set behind the horizon, Lyra looked out across the red plains. The aliens had mocked her weapon, laughed at her size, and dismissed her abilities. But she had survived. She had learned, adapted, and observed. And soon, very soon, they would see what humans were truly capable of. In the quiet aftermath of the trial, Lyra tightened the strap on her axe once more. It was more than a weapon now. It was a promise. A promise that she would fight, that she would endure, and that humanity would no longer be underestimated. The echoes of alien laughter would be replaced with astonishment, and the frontier would remember the day a human dared to stand against impossible odds. Lyra's eyes gleamed as she prepared for what came next. Somewhere beyond the horizon, challenges awaited, but she felt ready. The human spirit was not measured by technology or armor alone. It was measured by courage, ingenuity, and the refusal to be defeated. And Lyra Kane, with her earth axe in hand, was ready to show the universe exactly what that meant. The dawn broke over the red plains of Zerath 9, casting a soft, pale light over the arena where Lyra had survived her first trial. She stood outside the training ground, her axe strapped securely to her back. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of ionized metal from the alien outpost. She could hear the low hum of energy shields in the distance, a constant reminder of the alien technology she faced. Lyra's muscles ached from the previous day's exertions, but the soreness was welcome. It meant she had pushed herself, tested her limits. She stretched carefully, feeling every joint and sinew. Today would be harder. The arena commander had sent word that she would face a group of elite alien soldiers, trained not just to fight but to adapt and anticipate. They would not underestimate her this time, and she had to be ready. As she approached the training arena, the alien soldiers were already waiting. They moved with precision, their 6 limbs synchronized as they performed drills. Each one was taller than any human, their exoskeletons glinting under the twin suns. Lyra observed silently, noting their formations and the way their energy shields pulsed in rhythm. Every pattern told a story, and she intended to read it carefully. "You survived the first trial," the arena commander said, his voice carrying authority. "But these are not ordinary soldiers. They will test your limits. Do not underestimate them, human." But now she had to apply that knowledge in a more dangerous situation. The elite squad advanced toward her, moving as a single, terrifying unit. Their shields were larger, stronger, and their weapons more lethal than those she had faced before. Each step they took sent a faint vibration through the ground, a reminder of their strength. Lyra braced herself, calculating every movement. She had to be faster, smarter, and more precise. The first alien lunged with a powerful strike. Lyra dodged, rolling to the side and letting the momentum carry her forward. Her axe swung in a wide arc, meeting the alien's shield with a sharp clang. Sparks flew as the metal met energy, but the shield held firm. She quickly adjusted her stance, preparing for the next strike. The aliens moved with a rhythm she recognized, a pattern of attack and defense, but their timing was sharper, more refined. Each strike was aimed to test her reactions, each block designed to expose a weakness. Lyra focused, her eyes tracking every movement, her mind analyzing every detail. She had to anticipate their actions before they even thought to make them. Hours passed in a blur of motion. Lyra dodged, countered, and studied. She noticed small openings, tiny moments when the shields shifted slightly during their energy pulse cycles. Those were the moments she could exploit, the moments that could turn the fight in her favor. But timing had to be perfect. One miscalculation, and she could be crushed under the weight of alien strength. During a brief pause, Lyra crouched behind a low barrier, catching her breath. Her body was tired, but her mind was sharper than ever. She reviewed what she had learned. The elite soldiers relied heavily on their shields. Their offense was powerful but predictable. Humans, she reminded herself, were often underestimated because they used creativity and intuition rather than raw strength. That was her advantage. The squad approached again, faster this time. Lyra rose to her feet, gripping the axe tightly. She could feel the weight of it in her hands, the familiar balance that had been honed through years of practice. She had trained for this moment, imagining every possible scenario, every angle, every strategy. Now it was time to put that training into action. The first alien struck, swinging a massive weapon toward her head. Lyra ducked and rolled, letting the strike pass just above her. She countered with a swing of her axe, aiming at the weak joint in the alien's shield. It connected with a sharp clang, and the vibration ran up her arms, confirming her calculations. It would take more than one strike to break the shield, but she now knew where to aim. Another alien attacked from the side, their shield meeting hers in a shower of sparks. Lyra pushed back, using her strength and momentum to create space. She moved with precision, dodging each blow and observing the soldiers' patterns. Their confidence was high, but their reliance on technology made them predictable in subtle ways. Minutes stretched into an intense dance of strikes and counters. Lyra's muscles burned, but she did not falter. Every movement was purposeful, every dodge calculated. She was learning, adapting, and growing stronger with each encounter. The aliens, for the first time, seemed to hesitate, sensing that this human was different. One of the elite soldiers, noticing her resilience, decided to test her further. They launched a rapid series of strikes, faster than before, aiming to overwhelm her. Lyra's instincts took over. She dodged one blow, rolled under another, and swung her axe with precise timing. The edge of the weapon grazed the alien's shield, leaving a faint scratch, a small victory but a significant one. The arena commander watched silently, his expression unreadable. Lyra could feel his scrutiny, the weight of his expectations pressing down on her. She ignored it, focusing only on the battle, on the rhythm of the attacks, and on the opportunities she could exploit. As the fight continued, Lyra began to notice a pattern in the aliens' coordination. Their attacks were synchronized, but each soldier had a slightly different timing. That difference created gaps, brief moments when one shield was slightly misaligned. If she could time her strike perfectly, she could exploit that vulnerability. Lyra crouched low, observing the squad carefully. She took a deep breath, feeling the familiar thrill of anticipation. This was what she had trained for. The moment of opportunity approached and she was ready. Her muscles coiled like springs, her eyes locked on the target. The alien soldiers advanced again, their weapons flashing in the sunlight. Lyra waited, moving with calculated precision. When the lead alien swung their massive weapon, she rolled to the side, letting the strike pass. At the same moment, she noticed the slight misalignment in the second soldier's shield. Timing was everything. She lifted her axe, aimed carefully, and threw it with all her strength. The axe flew through the air, spinning in a perfect arc. Time seemed to slow as it approached the weak point in the shield. Sparks flew as the weapon made contact, and for a brief, breathtaking moment the shield shuddered. Lyra's heart raced, but she did not move. She had done it, her first successful strike against the elite squad. The alien soldiers stumbled, surprised by the sudden breach. Their movements faltered, and Lyra seized the opportunity. She leaped forward, swinging her axe in a wide arc. The sound of metal striking metal echoed across the arena, and the aliens were forced to retreat, reassessing their tactics. The crowd of observers leaned forward, their curiosity turning to astonishment. This human, small and seemingly fragile, had not only survived but had begun to find a way to overcome the elite soldiers' shields. The arena commander's eyes narrowed, a mixture of intrigue and concern crossing his features. Lyra lowered her axe, breathing steadily. She felt a surge of confidence. She had proven something important, not just to the aliens but to herself. Humans were underestimated because they were unpredictable, adaptable, and clever. That unpredictability was a weapon in itself, and she was beginning to master it. The squad regrouped, more cautious now. They had learned that brute strength alone would not defeat this human. Lyra could sense their hesitation, and she knew that she had the advantage, not in sheer power but in mind and spirit. As the day wore on, the battles continued. Lyra pushed herself, testing new angles, experimenting with timing, and exploiting the smallest openings. Each success, no matter how small, built her confidence and strengthened her resolve. She was no longer just a human with an old axe. She was a force to be reckoned with. By the time the sun dipped toward the horizon, Lyra stood in the center of the arena, her axe in hand and her body exhausted but alert. She had faced the elite squad multiple times, learning their patterns and exploiting their weaknesses. The aliens were beginning to respect her, though they would never admit it openly. The arena commander stepped forward, his voice calm but carrying authority. "You have performed well, human," he said. "You have survived where others would have fallen, but the true test is still ahead. You must face the lead warrior, the strongest of them all. Only then will you know if humans are truly capable of standing against us." She had learned much from today, and she knew that the lead warrior would be her ultimate test. But she was not afraid. She had the human edge, creativity, intuition, and courage, and she would use it to prove that humanity could stand tall even against the most advanced alien forces. As she prepared for the next trial, Lyra felt a quiet determination settle over her. She would not just survive. She would demonstrate that humans, with their hearts, minds, and indomitable spirit, could challenge even the strongest opponents. The frontier of Zereth 9 was harsh, unforgiving, and dangerous, but it was also the stage upon which humanity would begin to show its true strength. Lyra raised her axe one last time, feeling its familiar weight and balance. The path ahead would be difficult, and the challenges greater than anything she had faced before. But she was ready. Humans were underestimated, yes, but they were clever, resilient, and unstoppable when driven by purpose. And Lyra Kane was ready to show the universe exactly what that meant. The day of the final trial arrived with a sky painted in gold and crimson, the twin suns of Zareth 9 casting long shadows across the arena. Lyra Kane stood at the edge of the training field, her boots pressed into the soft, iron-rich soil. Her axe rested firmly in her hands, the polished wood familiar and reassuring. Today she would face the lead warrior, the strongest of the alien squad. Everything she had learned so far would be tested. Every lesson, every instinct, every ounce of courage would matter. The alien commander's voice echoed across the arena, calm but commanding. This is no longer a test of endurance or skill against lesser soldiers. You face the lead warrior. Their strength is unmatched, their tactics refined over countless victories. If you fail, humanity remains as it has always been, a primitive species unworthy of respect. Every human who had survived the frontier, every story of courage and ingenuity she had heard as a child, told her that nothing could replace determination, intelligence, and quick thinking. She would face this warrior and show that humans, underestimated though they were, could hold their own against the universe's finest. From the shadows of the arena emerged the lead alien warrior. Towering above Lyra, their exoskeleton glinted with intricate patterns that shimmered in the sunlight. Their eyes were sharp, calculating, and devoid of any amusement. This was no ordinary soldier. This was the apex of alien combat, a being trained for years to dominate the battlefield. Their energy shield pulsed rhythmically, humming with contained power, and the weapon in their hand crackled faintly with lethal energy. The alien spoke, their voice a low, commanding hum that resonated through the arena. "Human, your survival so far has been surprising, but this ends today. Step forward." Her voice was steady, her focus absolute. The lead warrior took the first step, a deliberate movement that sent vibrations through the ground. Lyra read the rhythm immediately, noting the subtle pause in their shield's pulse. That pause would be her opportunity. She had trained, observed, and calculated. Every second mattered, and she had to act with precision. The warrior struck first, their weapon a blur of motion. Lyra dodged instinctively, rolling to the side and letting the blow pass just above her shoulder. Sparks flew as her axe scraped the edge of the alien's shield. It was a warning shot, a reminder that she was capable of surviving these initial strikes. She countered with a swing of her axe, aiming not to overpower but to test, to feel the strength and flexibility of the shield. The metal met energy with a loud clang, vibrating up her arms. The shield held firm, but she had learned its rhythm. Timing, angle, and precision would be her allies, not brute force. The alien attacked again, faster this time. Lyra ducked under a heavy strike, rolled forward, and kicked dust into their path. The warrior adjusted instantly, their movements fluid and precise. Lyra realized quickly that this battle would be as much about intellect as strength. She could not outmuscle this opponent. She had to outthink them. Minutes stretched into a tense dance. Lyra observed, noted, and adapted. The aliens' attacks were rhythmic, almost predictable once she had identified the pattern. Their strength was immense, yes, but their reliance on the shield created a vulnerability she could exploit. One misaligned pulse, one split-second hesitation, and her axe could pierce through. She had only to wait and then act. During a brief moment of pause, Lyra crouched low, studying the warrior. Their shield pulsed with energy, each cycle precise. She could see the faint gap as it reset after each block, a narrow window of opportunity. Her mind raced, calculating trajectory, force, and timing. The axe was heavy, yes, but she had trained to throw it perfectly. This moment would demand everything she had learned. The alien lunged again, a powerful strike aimed at her midsection. Lyra rolled to the side, feeling the wind from the swing brush past her cheek. She rose quickly, her body coiled like a spring. She had learned the warrior's tempo. She had felt the rhythm of the shield, the minute fluctuation between pulses. All that remained was execution. Lyra took a deep breath, centering herself. Her muscles were tense, ready to release the stored energy. She stepped into the path of the warrior, not to attack with brute force but to draw attention, to bait the strike and time her throw perfectly. The lead alien advanced, weapon raised, shield pulsing in anticipation. Lyra felt the slight delay she had predicted. She waited for the exact instant. With a swift, fluid motion, she hurled the axe. It spun through the air, perfectly aligned with the vulnerable gap in the shield. Time seemed to slow. The warrior's eyes widened ever so slightly as the axe met the shield's weak point. Sparks erupted in a brilliant flash, and for a moment the shield shuddered and split along the line of impact. The force was precise, devastating, and utterly unexpected. The crowd of alien spectators gasped. Even the elite soldiers stepped back, their confidence shaken. Lyra landed lightly on the ground, her stance ready for the next move. She did not wait for applause, she had work to do. The lead warrior staggered, recovering from the breach, their rhythm disrupted. Lyra seized the opportunity. She swung her axe in a wide arc, forcing the warrior to retreat. The sheer audacity of a human successfully striking through the shield was enough to create hesitation, a crack in their armor of confidence. The warrior struck again, more carefully this time, but Lyra had adapted. She moved with precision, avoiding the strikes, testing the limits of the shield's recovery. Each blow she deflected, each maneuver she executed revealed her growing understanding of her opponent. The warrior's eyes narrowed. This human was not merely surviving, she was learning, adapting, predicting. Lyra's mind worked rapidly. She noted the minor shifts in the warrior's stance, the angle of the shield, the rhythm of each swing. Every detail mattered. She realized that if she could combine timing with momentum, she could not only survive but dominate the encounter. Her next throw would need to be perfect, precise, and unrelenting. The alien lunged once more, their weapon a blur. Lyra ducked under, rolled, and sprang to her feet. She threw a series of small feints, testing the response, observing the reaction. Each feint drew a reaction, each movement confirmed her calculations. The lead warrior's attacks began to slow ever so slightly, a sign that uncertainty had begun to creep into their confidence. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but Lyra was showing them that unpredictability could be lethal. Minutes passed in this high-stakes dance. Sweat ran down Lyra's face, her arms ached, her lungs burned, but she did not falter. Every human trait she possessed, creativity, intuition, perseverance, was being tested, and she thrived under the pressure. She had become a storm of motion, reading, predicting, and acting with precision. Finally, the moment arrived. She saw the exact pulse of the shield, the split-second delay she had anticipated. She coiled her body, drawing strength from the ground beneath her feet. The warrior advanced, shield raised and weapon poised. Lyra hurled the axe with all her strength, aiming for the precise gap in the shield. The axe spun in the air, a perfect arc guided by human ingenuity and instinct. It struck the shield's weak point, splitting it cleanly in half mid-strike. The sound echoed across the arena, a sharp, metallic crack that silenced the spectators. The warrior stumbled, caught off guard by the impossible attack. For a brief moment, time seemed to freeze. Lyra landed lightly on her feet, her stance firm and ready. The lead warrior recovered, but the damage had been done, their rhythm broken, their confidence shaken. The alien soldiers watched, astonished. The human had done what none of them expected. She had used intelligence, timing, and courage to overcome the apex of their fighting force. Lyra did not pause. She advanced with measured steps, her axe ready. Each movement was calculated, each swing purposeful. The warrior, though still formidable, was reacting rather than controlling. The fight had shifted. Humans were not just survivors. They could be challengers, innovators, and victors. The battle continued, but Lyra's dominance grew with each exchange. She adapted, learned, and exploited every opening. The alien strikes became more cautious, more deliberate, but Lyra was ready. She had proven that ingenuity and courage could surpass raw strength and technology. As the suns began to set, painting the arena in hues of red and gold, The lead warrior finally stepped back, signaling acknowledgement of her skill. Lyra's chest heaved, sweat and dust coating her skin, but her eyes shone with triumph. She had survived, she had learned, and she had shown that humans could not be underestimated. The arena commander's voice boomed, filled with a mixture of respect and astonishment. You have done what few could even imagine, human. Today, you have proven that strength is not measured by size or technology alone, but by courage, intelligence, and will. The humans in her mind, past and present, flashed through her thoughts, those who had survived impossible odds, those who had fought and endured. She had honored them all today. Humanity was underestimated no longer. The lead warrior stepped aside, and Lyra knew that this was only the beginning. The frontier awaited, and with it, challenges greater than any she had faced. But she had shown the universe that humans, armed with courage, ingenuity, and determination, could stand against even the most advanced and formidable opponents. The arena was silent except for the soft hum of energy shields and the occasional gust of wind carrying the red dust across the field. Lyra Kane stood at the center, gripping her earth axe tightly, every muscle in her body coiled and ready. Across from her, the lead alien warrior raised their massive shield, the energy field pulsing in a rhythmic pattern that seemed almost hypnotic. Today would be the defining battle, the moment when all her preparation, observation, and courage would be tested. Lyra's mind was calm despite the tension. She had survived countless attacks, studied the warrior's patterns, and learned the subtle timing of the shield pulses. Her body ached from hours of movement, but her determination was stronger than any fatigue. She understood now that brute strength alone would not win this fight. It was her intelligence, her courage, and her precision that could turn the tide. The alien commander's voice echoed over the arena. Human, this is your final chance. Strike if you can, but know that the lead warrior's skill is unmatched. One mistake and your efforts end here. She raised her axe, feeling the familiar weight and balance. Every swing, every block, every throw she had practiced came together in this moment. Her plan was simple yet risky. Use timing, leverage, and precision to exploit the single weakness she had observed in the shield's pulse. The lead warrior lunged first, a sweeping strike aimed to test her reflexes. Lyra rolled to the side, letting the weapon pass over her, and countered with a swing that grazed the edge of the alien's shield. Sparks erupted as metal met energy, but the shield held firm. Lyra's eyes followed the rhythm closely, noting the pulse, the split-second delay between blocks. That delay was her window. The alien advanced again, faster this time, weapon flashing with lethal energy. Lyra ducked, rolled, and stepped forward, forcing herself closer to the warrior. She moved with precision, testing, observing, and calculating. Her feints drew reactions, small shifts in stance that confirmed the timing of the shield's vulnerability. She could see it clearly now, a brief, fleeting moment when the pulse left the shield's center exposed. One throw could reach it, one throw could end the duel. Lyra took a deep breath, centering herself. She coiled her body like a spring, every movement deliberate, every thought focused. The alien lunged with a powerful strike, and at the exact moment of the shield's pulse gap, she hurled her axe. The weapon spun in the air, guided by years of training and instinct, cutting a perfect arc toward its target. Time seemed to slow as the axe approached the shield. The lead warrior's eyes widened slightly in surprise, a rare human feat causing hesitation. The axe struck the shield's weak point with a sharp, metallic crack. Sparks flew in all directions as the energy field split cleanly in half mid-strike. The impact echoed through the arena like thunder, leaving a stunned silence in its wake. The warrior staggered, caught off guard by the impossible strike. Their weapon wavered, their stance faltered, and for the first time they were on the defensive. Lyra landed lightly on her feet, axe in hand, ready for the next move. She did not celebrate, did not pause, she had to maintain control. The battle had shifted and she knew it. The crowd of alien spectators leaned forward, some gasping, some whispering in disbelief. The human had achieved what no one had expected. They had broken the shield of the lead warrior, a feat thought impossible. Lyra's focus, courage, and ingenuity had proven that humans were not to be underestimated. The warrior regained balance, raising the broken shield fragments. They adjusted their stance, striking with calculated precision, but the rhythm had changed. Lyra observed each movement carefully, noting the tiny differences that her previous attacks had forced. Their strikes were strong, but she had forced uncertainty into their actions. She could feel it. The warrior was cautious now, reactive, no longer in full control. Lyra feinted left, then right, testing reactions. Each movement confirmed her calculations. She saw another opening, slightly narrower than the first, but enough to make a difference. She crouched low, coiling her body, and hurled the axe again. The weapon spun in a perfect arc, striking the shield's second weak point. Sparks erupted, and the fragments of energy shields shattered into a brilliant cascade. The lead warrior stumbled back, their confidence shaken. Lyra advanced, her movements measured, her eyes focused. She did not need to strike again immediately. The warrior was now cautious, their attacks slower, deliberate, no longer fluid. They had learned that strength alone could not defeat her. Humanity's unpredictability was proving deadly. Lyra's mind raced as she observed the remaining fragments of the shield. Each piece was now a potential obstacle, a reminder of the warrior's reliance on technology. She realized that the fight had become more than physical, it was mental. The warrior's confidence had been broken. That gap, that hesitation, was all she needed to claim victory. The warrior struck again, carefully this time, measuring every swing. Lyra dodged, rolled, and countered with precision, forcing the alien to readjust constantly. The rhythm of the battle had changed. She controlled the tempo now. Humans were underestimated because they relied on creativity, intuition, and courage, qualities that could not be replicated by armor, shields, or brute strength. Lyra saw the final opening. It was narrow, fleeting, but perfect. She adjusted her stance, her body coiling like a spring, and hurled the axe with all her strength. The weapon spun through the air in a perfect arc, striking the warrior's shield at its weakest point. Sparks flew in a dazzling display, and the shield fractured completely. The aliens stumbled backward, the weapon slipping from their grip for just a moment. The crowd erupted in astonishment. Aliens who had laughed at the human and mocked her weapon now stared in disbelief. The Earth-made axe, once dismissed as primitive, had split the lead warrior's combat shield in half mid-strike. Lyra stood tall, her eyes sharp, her stance ready. She had not just survived. She had dominated, using intelligence, timing, and courage to overcome overwhelming odds. The lead warrior recovered slightly, raising a hand in acknowledgement. It was a rare gesture of respect, one that humans seldom received from this alien species. Lyra's heart pounded, but she remained composed. This moment was more than personal triumph. It was a symbol. Humans were capable, clever, and courageous. They could face the strongest forces and emerge victorious. Lyra lowered her axe slowly, the weight of it grounding her. She looked across the arena at the fragments of the shattered shield, the stunned alien soldiers, and the silent spectators. Every movement, every calculation, every act of courage had led to this moment. Humanity had been underestimated, mocked, and dismissed, but now the universe had witnessed their potential. The arena commander approached, his expression unreadable but filled with a mixture of respect and astonishment. "Human," he said, his voice carrying across the field, "you have done what few could even imagine. Today, you have proven that strength is not measured by size, technology, or armor alone, but by intelligence, courage, and determination. Humanity is not to be underestimated." Humans, she realized, were underestimated because they relied on qualities that could not be replicated: creativity, intuition, adaptability, and an indomitable spirit. The lead warrior stepped aside, lowering their weapon in acknowledgement. Lyra knew that this gesture, though subtle, was a recognition of human capability. She had demonstrated that intelligence, courage, and precise action could overcome even the most advanced technology. As the suns dipped lower in the sky, casting crimson light across the arena, Lyra Kane raised her axe, the metal catching the fading light. The spectators, alien and human alike, watched in silence. This moment would be remembered, the day a human, armed with courage and ingenuity, split the combat shield of the universe's fiercest warrior. Lyra lowered her axe once more, feeling a quiet sense of accomplishment. The journey was far from over, but humanity had proven something essential. They could face impossible odds and prevail. They could stand against advanced civilizations and win through intelligence, courage, and determination. The arena fell silent, the energy fields around the shattered shield fragments flickering and fading. Lyra's eyes met those of the lead warrior, a silent understanding passing between them. Respect had been earned, boundaries had been shifted, and a new chapter for humanity had begun. Lyra's body was exhausted, her arms trembling from the effort, but her spirit soared. She had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. She had turned mockery into astonishment and disbelief into respect. Humanity was underestimated no longer. The frontier of Zerath 9 would remember this day, the day the human with the Earth axe showed the universe the true strength of her kind. As the sun set completely, casting long shadows across the red plains, Lyra turned away from the arena. She knew the journey ahead would be difficult, filled with unknown challenges and greater threats. But she was ready. She had proven that humans could stand tall, think strategically, and act with precision. And she had proven that even a single human, armed with determination and ingenuity, could change the perception of an entire species. Lyra tightened her grip on the axe, feeling its familiar weight. This weapon, once mocked and dismissed, had become a symbol of human resilience, courage, and intelligence. She would carry that symbol forward, across the frontier, across the stars, proving time and again that humanity was not to be underestimated. The aftermath of the duel spread quickly through the alien outpost on Zerath 9. Word traveled from the arena to the observation towers, from the training grounds to the council chambers, until every corner of the base buzzed with astonishment. A human small, seemingly fragile, and armed with nothing more than an earth-made battle axe, had defeated the lead warrior. She had split their combat shield in half mid-strike, a feat that no alien had thought possible. Lyra Kane's name, though whispered cautiously, began to circulate among those who had once mocked her kind. Lyra did not linger in the arena. Her body ached, every muscle sore from the prolonged battles, yet her mind remained sharp. She had proven herself on the field, but she knew that the battle was not over. Respect, though gained in part, had to be solidified through continued action. She adjusted the strap on her pack, the familiar weight of her axe reminding her of her purpose. She had faced the impossible and emerged victorious, but the frontier of Zerath 9 still held unknown challenges. The lead warrior approached her, their massive form moving with an unusual deliberation. Lyra straightened, meeting their gaze without fear. Their armor, though battered, still carried the elegance of advanced design, but now it seemed less imposing. "You are unlike any human I have faced," the warrior said, their voice calm but carrying a note of respect. "Your timing, your precision, your courage. Few of my kind could overcome the challenges you face today." But also to prove that humans can stand against anyone, if we use our minds as well as our strength. Outside the arena, Lyra noticed the whispers among the alien soldiers and observers. They were no longer mocking. Instead, their expressions were cautious, their movements deliberate. The humans of this frontier had been underestimated for too long, and one young woman's victory had begun to change that perception. Back at the command center, the arena commander convened a council. Aliens of various ranks, species, and origins gathered, discussing what had just transpired. Lyra's performance dominated the conversation. Some expressed disbelief, others curiosity, and a few admitted quietly that humans were not as primitive as previously believed. "She is a human," one of the council members said, a tone of astonishment in their voice. "She defeated the lead warrior with only a simple weapon. If this is what humanity is capable of, we must reconsider our assessment of their species. We must study them further." The frontier would continue to challenge them, test them, and push them to the limits. Yet she felt a quiet pride. Today, humanity's name would carry weight in a place where it had once been dismissed. In the following days, Lyra trained with renewed purpose. Word of her victory had spread beyond Zareth 9, reaching other outposts and settlements. Humans, once considered fragile and inconsequential, were now being observed with caution, their potential carefully reconsidered. Lyra's example became a beacon for other human warriors, showing that courage, strategy, and intelligence could level the playing field against advanced alien technology. She spent time analyzing the battle, reviewing her own movements, and refining her technique. She realized that victory had not come from raw strength alone. It had come from patience, observation, and the willingness to adapt. Every feint, every dodge, every calculated throw of the axe had contributed to the success. Her weapon, simple and unassuming, had become an extension of her skill, a symbol of human ingenuity. The lead warrior occasionally joined her training sessions, offering insight into alien tactics. Though initially formal and distant, they grew to respect her determination and insight. Their presence was a reminder that even the most advanced warriors could learn from humans, just as humans could learn from them. Lyra welcomed the exchange. Knowledge was a weapon, and the frontier demanded constant adaptation. Meanwhile, other human settlements on Zareth 9 began to take notice. Messages arrived from distant colonies, acknowledging the courage and skill demonstrated in the arena. Humans were no longer simply survivors. They were emerging as a species capable of strategy, innovation, and leadership. The story of the young warrior with the earth axe spread across the frontier, inspiring hope and determination among those who had long felt overshadowed by alien superiority. Lyra found herself reflecting on the meaning of her victory. It was not merely personal triumph, it was a symbol of humanity's resilience. Throughout history, humans had faced impossible odds, from the harshest environments to the most powerful enemies, and had prevailed through courage and ingenuity. That legacy had been carried forward today on Zareth 9. She understood that her actions were not just her own, they represented the collective spirit of her species. As the twin suns of Zareth 9 set behind the horizon, Lyra walked along the edge of the arena, her silhouette long and commanding against the crimson sky. She paused to look back at the shattered shields and the quiet warriors who now regarded her with caution and respect. A sense of quiet satisfaction settled over her. She had faced impossible odds and demonstrated the unique strength of humans, not just in battle but in intellect, creativity, and courage. The lead warrior approached once more. "You have shown that humans can be more than we expected," they said. "Today, your people have earned respect, though it must still be proven through continued action. Do not be complacent. The frontier is vast, and there will always be challenges." Lyra felt a sense of connection, not just between individuals but between species. Conflict and competition had created an opportunity for recognition, and humanity had seized it. In the days that followed, humans across the frontier began to act with newfound confidence. The story of Lyra Kane and her earth axe became legend, shared among soldiers, traders, and settlers alike. Humans were no longer dismissed as primitive. They were seen as capable, resourceful, and courageous. Even the alien outposts that had once mocked humanity began to approach with caution, curiosity, and a measure of respect. Lyra continued to train, aware that this was only the start. The frontier held countless challenges, from hostile environments to fierce alien warriors. But she was no longer just one human among many, she was a symbol. Her actions had demonstrated the power of courage, ingenuity, and determination. Humanity had earned a place in the broader struggle of the stars. Each day, she ventured further into the Red Plains, testing herself, learning from the land and refining her skills. She remembered the lessons of the arena, the timing of attacks, the rhythm of shields, the importance of observation and adaptation. These lessons would serve not only her but all humans who would follow in her footsteps. Lyra knew that the frontier would continue to challenge humanity. There would be battles, obstacles, and moments of doubt. But she had learned that humans had a unique strength, the ability to think, adapt, and persevere when all odds seemed against them. That strength, combined with courage and ingenuity, could overcome even the most formidable opponents. As the nights grew longer and the twin moons of Zareth 9 rose into the sky, Lyra stood at the edge of a cliff, looking out over the vast plains. The wind carried the faint scent of iron and dust, a reminder of the harsh world she called her new home. Her axe gleamed softly in the moonlight, a symbol of triumph and resilience. Humanity had been underestimated, but no longer. Lyra's thoughts turned to the future. Humans would continue to face challenges, to fight, to explore, and to endure. But they would do so with the knowledge that courage, intelligence, and determination could level any battlefield. They would not be dismissed or mocked. They would stand tall, ready to claim their place among the stars. The frontier was vast, and the challenges were great, but humanity had proven that it was capable of standing against the impossible. Lyra Kane, with her earth axe in hand, had shown the universe that courage, skill, and ingenuity were as powerful as any shield or weapon. The story of her victory would inspire generations, a beacon of hope and strength for all humans who followed. And so, as the twin moons bathed the red plains in silver light, Lyra Kane walked forward, ready for whatever the frontier would throw at her. She had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. Humanity had been underestimated no longer, and the universe had begun to recognize the true strength of her kind. The earth axe on her back was no longer just a weapon, it was a symbol of humanity itself, resilient, clever, and unstoppable.